Japanese martial arts, Aikido was never thought of as the most effective. Judo is far more effective because Judo involves people grabbing people and flipping them and slamming them on the ground. Like, there's a great video of an old Judo master. See if you can find this video. There's this guy, he looks like he's about 80 years old and he weighs about 13 pounds. And he is, you can tell, especially someone who knows martial arts, you can tell when someone's just giving in. The problem with a lot of these demonstrations of Aikido is guys are just giving in. Like this old dude. Watch this old dude. The old dude on the right-hand side is so much bigger than the other guy. And they're walking the guy around and like, he's really throwing this guy.
Right.
This is legit. Like, this guy's trying not to get thrown, and he doesn't know what to do. Like, he trips him to the ground there. But this old guy is tiny, but he's using perfect leverage and perfect technique.
Yeah.
And fuck, he looks really old in this picture. Like, the guy's trying to throw him there, and he can't pull it off.
Yeah.
And he can't pull it off because the older guy has perfect position and perfect... What is the name of this video? Perfect leverage. Look at this.
Whoa.
Boom. 90 years old Judo master is the name of the video online. And I don't know if he was really 90, but
Damn.
he certainly looks like he could be 90. But this old guy just knows how to, you notice also the back of his heels are always like lifting up. He's moving.
Yeah.
And this guy's trying to throw him. And he's just, and the guy who's trying to throw him appears to be a black belt. At least he's wearing a black belt. Fucking incredible, man. It's really amazing. So Judo was a much more effective martial art, and Judo was actually what was taught to the Brazilians. When Count Maeda went to Brazil and taught people in Brazil, particularly the Gracies, they taught them Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The Gracies took what was Judo at the time, and they took the ground attacks of Judo and just perfected them, and then honed them and changed them and made them more technical and really worked on utilizing leverage and utilizing submissions. And they turned that into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
So Judo is standing as well as ground.
Yes. There's a ground aspect of Judo. Obviously, like Ronda Rousey is probably one of the most famous submission artists in the UFC, and her background was in Judo. She was a Judo player and very good at Judo. She was a bronze medalist. So when she would get a hold of people, she would just fucking throw them on their ass and flip them and toss them and slam them to the ground. She just had phenomenal Judo, but also a wicked armbar. And that was because the niwaza, the ground attack part of Jiu-Jitsu, comes from Judo. So there you go.
Yeah, my father did Judo, and he taught it to me and my brother. And then I remember my brother was bigger than me, and he used to flip the fuck out of me. And then he did it to me one day, and my father grabbed him and flipped him down on the ground. It was like, this is not good. This isn't like passing on knowledge. This is just a violent family out of control.
Was your dad drunk?
He was 6'2".
Cigarette in his hand.
Yeah,
while he's
cigarette.
Flipping it.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, Judo's legit. Judo.
I think is the best martial arts for self-defense.
For sure, Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, for sure.
Wrestling?
I think grappling, I should say. What Judo as well, especially in a cold climate. If you get someone who's got like a heavy winter jacket on, my God, like Judo is an incredible
Plus
martial
concrete.
art. That's the worst place to be, with a heavy winter jacket with a Judo specialist and you're standing up with them. Oh my God. One thing that is a good criticism about Jiu-Jitsu is the lack of takedowns. And that is a real factor in any sort of real world situation. The hope is if you're in a bar or something like that, there's a scramble, most things wind up on the ground. That's true until you deal with a skilled opponent. It's just, look, Judo is the best, in my opinion, for someone who's wearing clothes. You know, I think every Jiu-Jitsu guy would really greatly benefit from having a good comprehensive knowledge of Judo.
How deep would you go?
Judo's a good thing to learn, man, just period. First of all, those guys are so freaky chimp strong. Some of the freakiest chimp strong guys I ever roll with were Judo people. Because Judo players, man, they're just everything is constantly this. They're constantly grabbing and everything is
The
hips
torque and rotation. Yeah.
There's so much explosive movement carrying a human body. Right? So they're doing explosive movement, like sandbag training with another 200-pound person all the time, or larger, particularly like women. Like Ronda Rousey, do you know how goddamn strong that woman is? She freakishly strong.
Oh, I bet.
Because her whole body was designed to, throw bodies around, throw a human body. I mean, it's like, you think of weightlifting, right? Like, when are you ever weightlifting your whole body? Well, maybe if you're squatting, or maybe if you're bench pressing, if you're exceptionally strong.
Or deadlifting.
Yeah, or deadlifting. Those are like the compound movements. But like curling or tricep, none of those things, overhead press, very rarely are you using your whole body weight that way.
I don't think it's advisable to do that with your whole body weight.
And your whole body weight is way more difficult to control because it's moving and resisting. And it's, try picking up a dead body. A person who's out cold. It's fucking hard. You got to scoot a person like if I had to pick up a dude who's 195 pounds and I had to pick him up and he's out cold, fuck. That's hard. You
now put 80 pounds of gear on him.
Yes. I could only imagine.
And guns dangling all over the place.
So with a judo player, imagine that, but imagine that person also resisting. Like they're some of the freakiest, strongest people in the world.
I just sit down when I start with judo people. I'm like, haha, fuck you.
Good move. Good move.
I watch them over in the corner and I hear just the whoosh. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down.
It's a beautiful thing to learn, though. It's a beautiful thing to learn if you can get someone that'll really work with you and who's technique oriented, not someone who just wants you to spar all the time. Because one of the things that happens with judo a lot when people are just getting involved in it, there's a lot of scrambling on the feet that could put your legs in a compromised position where your knee blows out.
How much, just in your time watching the UFC, how many of the takedowns do you see are judo-based?
It's not that often, but some guys are really good at it. And the guys that are really good at it, it comes up. There's some guys. Back when Caro Parisian was fighting, Caro was a great judo player who was in the earlier days of the successful UFC, was one of the better judo guys, and he would hit hip tosses and all kinds of different judo throws all the time. And Ronda, of course, you would do it all the time too. But with Ronda, that was basically the only way she would take you down, was with like upper body grabs. Her move was like to grab the head and then take people down with that and use judo. But it does happen. But it only happens, it happens with skilled players.
Yeah.
But when it does happen, it's like it's a big surprise oftentimes. Like, whoa.
And I think that's good for almost everybody to get that at some level. I mean, even if you don't care about the competition and the winning, but kind of knowing what's possible and the different limits there, I think is valuable. I
agree wholeheartedly, and I love the fact that you got into it, because I would like to encourage so many more people to experience that there's many things going on simultaneously. There's the technical aspects of the various moves. They have to understand the points of leverage and how to get to a superior position. But there's also the physical exertion aspect, where you're managing your body's resources, and you have a finite amount of energy and you can't burn it all out quickly. So there's this sort of management game that you're playing. And then on top of it, it's like you have to be able to be uncomfortable. You have to be able to put yourself in a good state of mind while you're uncomfortable. And so many of those lessons learned from that are applicable to everyday life. And they give you a higher threshold for discomfort, a higher threshold for pushing through obstacles and understanding boundaries and how to overcome them, and how to increase your physical engine, how to strengthen your meat vehicle.
Yeah, that whole lesson about, sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail. And a lot of people do go through much of their life, without ever really internalizing that, where it's always, a participation trophy or whatever. But it's like sometimes you get your ass kicked, and that can you can come back stronger after that.
Yes. It's good for you. It's actually good for you. And it's an amazing camaraderie, particularly in grappling. I found that grappling, the camaraderie is much nicer than striking. I came from a striking background, because the thing about striking, there is a camaraderie, a deep camaraderie with people that you would go and compete with. You're hurting each other.
Yeah.
Whereas in grappling, you're not really hurting each other the same way, and you can kind of do it full blast, and you appreciate each other because iron truly does sharpen iron in that
Yeah, I
regard.
mean, there are so many times I remember just driving back from judo where I just have a big smile on my face just thinking that was really great.
Yeah.
Now it's like the judo club was in a a little bit of a sketchier area of town, so my wife was always like, you can never drive your Ferraris to judo practice.